All right. Welcome back to the world famous Tipitinas. Thank you so much to Tipitinas for letting us use the space. Thank you so much to nugs.net for letting us use the equipment. And I hope you are enjoying this on tipitinas.tv. We have a very special guest with us here this evening. Another person who it would be easier to list the people he hasn't played with more than it would be to list the people that he has played with, quite frankly. You know him from Dumpstaphunk, Dr. Klaw, formerly of Funky Meters and the Neville Brothers. Ladies and gentlemen, IAN NEVILLE.
Fellas, thanks
You're welcome,
a lot.
man.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah, man, like I said, played with a hell of a lot of people from a very musical family, and grew up around the corner and almost quite literally grew up in this place. That kind of sums up the origins, right?
Yeah, that's pretty close. Yeah, I grew up like 8 blocks away, something like that, roughly, give or take. And yeah, I've been in this building starting since I was like probably about 1.
Yeah, I heard stories that your dad would bring you here and like put you to sleep in the green room and stuff like that.
Yeah, I definitely take green room naps. I got good at that. That was a solid pastime back then. No, it was like the home court gig for my family since forever in my memory banks, you know?
No, absolutely. I mean, do you have a first memory coming here, or has it just been one of those places that you've been coming so long that you couldn't possibly remember the first time?
I don't remember the first time.
You don't have an earliest memory? Maybe?
Not an exact one. No, It just blurred into knowing this was here. This was like, you know, where it happened, one of the spots, you know, like here and like Benny's bar down the street.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been right around the corner.
That probably. I remember riding on my Uncle Cyril's shoulders from the crib down to a sound check down there or something one day. But you could hear those gigs from our house at night. That was nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first time you played here?
I was mad young, like 13 probably.
Was it sitting in with Neville Brothers
with
or Funky Meters?
Okay. It was a Funky Meters thing, yeah.
13?
Back then. It was probably about 13.
Wow.
14. Something like that.
It's astonishing.
Quick sit-ins then, you know?
Well, I do know that you were almost a drummer and a piano player before you were ever a guitar player. Is there any factuality to that?
I started playing drums when I was really little.
Okay.
Like 3, and when it was fun, 8, just beat on that age of. But I have a picture somewhere of me and on Zig's lap in here. I'll find it. Maybe
send it over. Yeah, we'll put it in somewhere. We'll edit that in afterwards.
I'll find
great,
that.
Man.
And then I started playing piano for a quick second when I was like 9 or 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
But that didn't stick. And then I switched schools in 4th grade, and my new friend had a guitar at his house, so I started messing with his guitar, and then I got one about the same time. I got a guitar and a bass about the same time, I guess.
Is he a musician now?
Yep.
Who's this?
Ted Joyner, Generationals.
All right.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the Generationals have played here before.
Yeah, they have.
Sure.
Ted, me and Ted go way back.
That's
homies.
Cool.
4th grade, St. Andrews.
That's wild. You keep swatting.
I know. Sorry.
There's a fly. Yeah, this is a crazy day, man. We can't get the lights right. There's flies. It's pouring, raining outside. I'm sure it sounds and looks awesome. So I'm so glad you came in. Yeah, just keep drinking the mezcal.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
Yeah. When did you start drinking mezcal, by the way? Sorry to cut you off. You're telling me a nice story about your childhood. We'll talk about liquor, too.
No, that was when I quit drinking brown alcohol, preferably. Then it was straight tequila options for a while, and then just branched out. Try to diversify.
Yeah.
I don't know. Smoky. I like the smokiness, you know.
All right.
It's kind of delicious.
I've never been into it. I mean, that's one I should try, I guess?
It's decent. This one's better for making drinks with, really. Yeah. But I don't mind sipping on it just because I'll have it at the crib, because it's like the one I can buy at the store for a reasonable price.
What kind of drinks do you make? Because people don't often mix mezcal with anything, huh?
I just substitute tequila just sub mezcal for tequila for the most part.
All right.
Nothing like crazy. I have like my fake dressing room craft cocktail that I do on the road.
What's your dressing room craft cocktail?
It's whatever tequila they want to give me that night, or sometimes mezcal if it's the right town or whatever.
All right.
San Peli. Well, this is just all on my rider.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could recite y'all's rider. Do you keep put a lemon drop inside?
I have a physical photo rider for me because people like to not read.
Okay.
So I have pictures of the that I want. It sometimes
it's a
works.
Trade for any up and coming musicians.
No joke. Try it. It's good. You at least get a laugh out of it. so it might work just for that. It's just mezcal, tequila, whatever, some San Pellegrino, lime, fresh lime.
Yeah.
And I usually got to steal some Ivan Simply lemonade.
All right.
And do a splash lemonade in there on the rocks.
I mean, that's delicious sounding.
It's fine. It's it's fine.
I wish I'd have known. I would have got you all those things. You didn't send me an official writer.
No, I didn't. This is easier. This is better.
All right.
For
yeah.
this,
No, I
this
mean, I
type
cut
of
you
setting.
limes just in case. I didn't know. So.
No. For the sipping, I'm good.
All right. Yeah. No,
fine.
I'd have picked up. I had, Ivan was in here last week. He sat for one of these, and I got him his cookies. I got him all kinds of stuff. I got Simply lemonades. I got double shots.
Yeah.
He was. I had a couple San Pellegrinos, but I think someone probably drank them during the week.
Yeah, it's all good.
That's cool. Like I said, obviously you are a Neville. You come from a great big musical family. You got a couple of siblings, a sister who's a bit older than you, who's actually quite a well-known broadcaster, a journalist.
Yep. Arthel.
Yeah.
Older sister.
I didn't put two and two together. When I met her here a couple of years ago, I was like, God, I know you. And she said, oh, my name's Arthel. I was like, yeah, and she, Arthel Neville. I was like, yeah, but how do I know you? Have I met you before? She was on Entertainment Tonight or something like that.
She's got a crazy track record resume, for real. Yeah, she's been doing that for a long minute now.
25
she's
years,
pro.
30 years, something like that.
Not quite that long, because
okay.
she's not, she's an undisclosed amount of years older than me.
That's fine.
But yeah, she that's her gig. She crushes it all over the place on that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, she's just been on a bunch of that's all,
Yeah, totally. And I mean, now it's adorable that, you talk about coming in here as a young kid. I don't know how many times I gave you a hard time about bringing your kid sister in here, Amelia.
Yeah.
And now here she is, old enough to be in here hanging out, and she's actually played here before.
Yep.
She's quite good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, was there any kind of influence on you to the younger sister?
A little bit. I try to be a good example, influence or whatever.
Yeah.
Or at least, don't do this if it's something that's up that we're both watching or I'm doing or whatever,
All right.
But
well, she don't play funk. That's something else that's pretty interesting.
No, she's on her own bag.
Yeah.
She writes a lot and just has her own crew that she's been in a couple different bands. And yeah, she's pretty consistent. It's good.
No, I mean, I had listened to a couple tracks online and I saw her play, and I don't know why I was like, she don't know Sissy Strut. She can't play any of these classics, but like you said,
I think she does know.
She obviously
that one and some other, but
yeah.
She's just her writing angle is just not from that court, but it's cool. Yeah.
No, I mean that's the younger generation, man. You play what you're into, and when you were a young guy, funk probably wasn't the first thing that you were playing either, huh?
No.
Yeah.
No.
What kind of stuff were you into when you were a kid?
Like the band me and Ted had back in the day, we would play Green Day and Rage Against the Machine and some Sublime and a couple originals, and just it was all over the board. Yeah.
You guys any good?
We were all right.
All right.
We were all right. We weren't great.
Okay.
We weren't great, but it was funny. It was funny, I'm sure, because we were just kind of nerdy and. And our friend Adam was the front man, bass player, singer.
All right.
He was fucking nuts. And yeah, it was weird fun.
Well, I mean, you started playing, with the Neville brothers, I think, when you were probably not even, like you said, 13, with Funky Meters at least, 13.
Yeah, just sitting in back
exactly.
then.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not saying you were a touring musician as a child, How old were you when you did first hit the road, though?
I mean, I got to go on the road a decent amount with my dad here and there. Not gigging, but just when I was hanging out.
Yeah.
Just kid style, riding on the bus and
schools out
having
or something
fun.
like that?
Yeah. Gigging wise, probably end of high school, but then traveling was a little. I went to Loyola for 2 years, a little under 2, something like that.
All right.
So at the last half of Loyola, I started dipping out enough where I just ended up being full-time on the road after that. So that was a long-ass time ago at this point, kind of. I graduated high school in 2000.
Yeah,
so.
no, I mean, we're the same age. You've aged way better than I have, so that's good.
It's the humidity here.
Dude, I've lived in the Gulf Coast my whole life.
No, I mean Balance Street in Chippewa,
okay, that's
specifically.
Fair. That's fair. I mean, I live right off Tchoupitoulas. It's just as smelly there.
I realized
so when you were at Loyola, though, were you in the music program?
Yeah, it was the first year of the music business program.
Okay.
But the irony of the timing of that was that was like, I think iPods came out what year?
Like probably 2001
2001,
maybe.
I think, maybe. And so all the that the music business department had under their belt was just getting uprooted and tossed out the window.
Yeah, no, they could not keep up with the technology.
No. So between that and the concept of like I had access to the people doing the jobs that the professors used to like do, like in a publishing capacity or just management people. I had access to people actually doing that at the time. So that was a better angle to learn than those classes at that time. Yeah, I felt like, but that was that was a lucky option that I had.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you slide in right with that generation of becoming an adult as the technology grew up also.
Yeah.
But like you said, being around all of the music industry your whole life. I've asked this to a couple musicians before, and it's like, hey, do you think that plenty of them have dropped out of school or not finished, and they're like, yeah, I don't get better paying gigs because I finished college as with a music degree or anything like that.
Yeah,
so it's
I don't know what kind of door that opens, a degree in music business. Like I don't know who is like, oh, you got like
Well, if you want to be a working musician, it's good to know. Obviously,
but I'm saying even in like a management company, would it be like you have I don't know if that would even matter. I feel like you'd have to show you're competent before they give a if you have a...
I guess so. You're still going to have to start at the bottom more often than not and learn as you go. Just like any job, you learn by doing, I've always thought.
Hopefully, anyway.
Well, I mean, ideally. Well, I want to talk about your father. Sadly, he passed away last summer, and I think the timing was pretty difficult. I mean, there's no good time for that, obviously. But you guys had just played the Dome opening for the Stones.
Yeah.
A gig that he had, 40 years prior.
Yep.
And then the next week is when at least we all got the news. I don't know if you wanted to talk about that at all. So
yeah, it's fine, man.
All right. Well, just coming up at the very least, is there just a lot of music in the house, as most would assume? I hate when I've heard people ask you, what's it like growing up in the Neville family or whatever else? Like, oh, your papa is Papa Funk. Like, it's like, yeah, I don't know the difference because I haven't lived anyone else's
I don't have another
childhood.
context. Is always my answer on that. But yeah, there was music which I didn't feel like was an abnormal amount or more or less than anything. But my dad was like in a lot of Sam Cooke and like Curtis and just that was some random
R&B,
house stuff.
Real R&B,
Yeah, it was just normal you would think, like Stevie and everything, I
mean, was he playing a lot or was it just...
we always had a piano in the crib, always. On and off, he would sit down and around here and there, sometimes. And then when he always had like just an actual piano and then like a little studio setup situation. So for his, just like jotting stuff down kind of shit or whatever, And he's always either listening or ready to hop on, shed some shit,
Yeah. Well, I assume probably had family coming over. I mean, was there ever like rehearsals in the house or anything like that?
Yeah, on Valence, it was a double shotgun for most of the time, right? Well, no, until I was like 12, we got the house remodeled. Anyway, when it was the shotgun, we lived on one side and the other side was like gear storage for the Nevilles. So, and my uncle, one lived across the street, and then the other two lived a block up closer toward camp on Valence on the other side of the street. So everybody was like close for a little while in that period. Yeah. So yeah, that would happen then. And then when it was time to like bounce on the road, the gear had to load out of the house and everybody would meet there and then like dip from there. So that was always fun to just go run around on even when I didn't get to go on the trips, just go run around on, if it was like a tour bus situation, the bus pull up on Valence Street and I just go. That's
pretty cool.
Hang out on there and yeah.
Yeah, well, something else that I think, your cousin Ivan, who obviously is in Dumpstaphunk with you, he had moved away from New Orleans when you were a little kid, huh? Mm-hmm. So it's interesting that you guys ended up playing, most of your entire adult life in your touring band has been with your cousin that you didn't grow up with,
I've thought about that recently, and that is funny because, it's not like we were buddy since I was a little ass kid or anything.
Yeah, he was an adult when you were born.
Obviously he was around and like there's pictures. There's some Jazz Fest picture of him holding me at Jazz Fest. I think there's like that. But then we just re-linked up kind of later, and where I don't know, for whatever reason we just kind of saw some similar directions on certain stuff. We still fight and argue our asses off. Sometimes if we're on the road, there'll be a way to find a daily little something.
That's what families do, man. Like I don't think that's uncommon for any family at all. That's one of those. But things.
When you work with, there's a reason. That saying is there for a reason. Yeah. And my family just shat on that whole rule.
Family's been working together for decades, man. Like you never get to escape that shadow of working with family. I guess.
No.
It's literally in your blood. I do want to go back and ask you one thing about your father. He was a bit of I know he was in the Navy for a while, and he got trained to be like a jet engine mechanic or something like that. And I thought it was interesting. I don't remember the story on why. Do you know why he ended up enlisting? Was he drafted or did he enlist?
He chose that.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
It wasn't even World War II. It was in the 50s or late 50s after he had already been in the Hawkettes,
Yeah, so he that was at post Mardi Gras Mambo and like that, you know. I don't know if he walked into that because he had some overall plan, because he wasn't in there for all that long,
No, a couple of years maybe.
Yeah, so maybe he did his little time and then just came back to the real focus,
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I read the brothers, the autobiography that he and your uncles wrote, and it's phenomenal. I wonder also.
That is a really good book.
How much of that stuff you had known before you read it, or did you learn most of that?
I learned not most, but I'd learned for sure. Yeah. That was a really good book. Mm-hmm. Like I dug it, and I'm, grew up in some of this.
Yeah, in the family.
Yeah, and it was still cool.
You got a published chronology of the generation ahead of you on them becoming musicians. I mean, difficult stories, obviously. Like
it's priceless that I have.
Exactly. I mean, aside from all the other, it's not even necessarily trinkets or tokens. Like, we talked about your father's recording when he did the radio show for WWOZ. Like, there's all kinds of those nuggets all over the place that is almost like a blessing to be able to hold on to.
Yeah, definitely. It's weird to be reminded of him when you don't kind of look for it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's cool and sometimes it wasn't the time. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also it's like I get to hear him still like that, so that's dope.
Well, he lives on forever, man. Like you can't turn the radio on and listen for an hour before hearing his voice come on.
Like even NPR and they were playing Tippy Toes on the background the other day.
Yeah, man, that happens all the time.
Yeah, you know, that's cool.
It's a beautiful thing. Something else that I thought was very interesting. Bit of a sci-fi nerd. There's a lot of those the famous pictures of him doing the Live Long and Prosper.
Yeah,
that rubbed off on you a little bit too, didn't it?
Yeah, like he was total Trek head.
Yeah.
He hit me to Star Wars obviously and was into Star Wars too. But he was hard into the Star Trek, and as a result, I've seen all the Star Trek episodes pretty much also. In addition, but I've seen all those just because rolling with him. But I'm still like a way more Star Wars nerd and ended.
Star Wars is cooler than Star Trek. I think most can agree.
Most can agree on that.
No
one's going to fight you about that.
For my family too, for sure.
Yeah.
It's not a love loss for Star Trek. It's more just a heavier love for Star Wars, I guess.
Yeah.
It's random.
He was deep into that.
Yeah, totally. One more thing I wanted to bring up about the Neville brothers, and I'm not sure. And, I wanted just because I like... when people come here, I love them telling stories about Tipitinas. I think the last time I can recall that the Neville brothers played here, and it wasn't as a Neville brothers set, but all of your uncles were here for Dumpstaphunk 6 years ago, maybe?
I feel like it was
the
more
last
than
day
that.
Jazz Fest.
I feel like that was more like 8 or 7,
it could have
maybe.
Been. Yeah,
I think
7
I
or
feel
8,
like
maybe,
yeah. I feel like it was. I could be wrong though, but that was the last time all of them were on the stage together. I'm pretty sure.
Was that planned at all, or did it just kind of?
I thought about that when we were so it was like who we're gonna get to do the guest thing with us.
Yeah, I mean Troy shows up and plays almost every year.
Yeah, we get to hold down the tips gig. We always got to try to come with something special or new or fresh or whatever. And this was like a throwback, fresh kind of thing. And I was like, damn, when's the last time the brothers have like thrown down on some of that? You know, just their kind of more funky and just crushed the stage. Like
it wasn't like something that was announced either. Like I remember going through the green room and seeing your Uncle Aaron and being like, "Holy hell, what are you doing here, man? I don't remember last time I saw you in here."
That was definitely slightly calculated on that tip because like that's some history that needed to happen again. And yeah, I'm glad we got to kind of angle that and spearhead it. It's cool.
Tanner,
I just saw a picture
find that video if possible.
I saw a photo of that the other day floating around on the internet, fresh, and that just
Well, it's phenomenal. Like I remember that show, and you know every year the Dumpstaphunk show on the last day of Jazz Fest is probably it's always one of the best shows of the year without a doubt, like top 3 without even hesitation. And you know I feel lucky that I get to see it every year and that we get to have it. It's just one of those special nights that. You know, in my opinion, no offense to my benevolent owners of Galactic, it's almost more special than that all-night Lundy Gras show. You know, like that closing out the last day of Jazz
I'm glad
Fest
they
here.
get to do that because I don't want to do that one. So
3 sets is a lot of music, man. That's a lot for an all-nighter with a bunch of crazy kids during Mardi
they're
Gras.
good at that one at this point. You know, they got it. They got it on lock. But I'm like. Yeah, I'm glad we get to hold down that last Jazz Fest spot, man. It was a family spot for a long time, and like we get to, as long as we get to keep that going, like we're down to come with some of that hot fire. You know,
man, it's. I wonder, you know, not that I wonder, but like, you know, not telling you something you don't know either. But you play in the funkiest band that exists. There's no doubt in my mind about that.
We try to be that. We try to stay up at that kind of caliber. I don't know.
I mean. Is there doubt? Are there times when you think that you could be funkier?
I just like to make sure we
it's a bad
come
question.
with more, you know, you're only as funky as your last cut, as Andre 3000 said.
All right.
So that's how I like to think about it.
All right. Let's talk about the beginnings of Dumpstaphunk. In the beginning, this was not, you know, the first Dumpstaphunk show was just a Jazz Fest gig that Ivan basically just started pooling all the people that he wanted to play with, like, who should I get for this gig?
Yeah.
And you mentioned how, you know, strange that you ended up being in a full-time band with your cousin that you didn't even grow up with because he was so much older. He was almost probably more like an uncle than a cousin when you were a little kid.
It was a blurry line, probably, just because he's him.
All right.
But, and just because our whole family dynamic is just weird like that. So it was, yeah, I don't know. It's at some point it was probably better that we kind of relinked when I was a little older than just the whole time.
You had shared a stage with him before plenty of times. At least doing Funky Meters gigs.
Yeah,
like,
a couple, some like that.
You.
Yeah. But since then it's been quite a few gigs under our Dumpstaphunk belt together. It's been some years of that now, which is pretty crazy to think.
Yeah, well, the first shows were almost kind of one-offs. You only played a few times. Maybe how many times did you guys even play before Katrina? Maybe 8 or 9?
Yeah, from like 03 to post Katrina, like maybe 3 a year.
Yeah.
Those years, something like that. Some sporadic here and there. 3, 4, some, you know, that was probably about it, I think.
All right.
And we're all doing separate shit. And then Storm situation. And like kind of after that, at one point, me and Ivan and Nick were with the Neville brothers. And then Nick bounced. And then Ivan got left off of the email chain. And then the week after that, the same thing with me. And then we were like, okay, we weren't doing that anymore.
Yeah.
And then between that and like Tony and Raymond were still doing like playing with Trey, I think then, or and just some of those timings just worked out where we all kind of freed up in addition to the storm thing. And
yeah, well, if I'm not mistaken, I remember hearing Raymond said, "Oh yeah, we started doing this because we all got fired from our other gigs, so we had to do something." But I did also hear that Nick was kind of the first one that said, "Hey guys, this has got to be our full-time thing. Quit your jobs." Almost,
yeah, he was
right?
serious. Nick Daniels III, he was gung ho, and that helped push the over the edge, I think.
So yeah, original lineup obviously. You, Ivan, Nick Daniels III, Tony. Thibodeau Tony Hall, the mayor of Thibodeau.
Yep.
And Raymond Weber.
And the first Jazz Fest gigs, June was on.
Yeah, I think June. Yeah.
And,
did you have horns at first gigs?
Was it Mullins in them? Maybe.
I wasn't there. I don't know.
I got to think about it. I'm gonna revisit that in my head as we continue this. I got to remember.
No, the first time I saw you guys playing, I think might have been at the Wolf or something like that.
Nick had a percussion set up too.
Did he?
Yeah.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was drunk. But those early days hitting the road, I mean, I know things were bleak for the city and a lot of people, but I think it was obvious to everyone that had seen you, and probably to y'all too, that like this thing is real. Like it was causing a stir early on with audiences. I mean, did you guys get that sense at all?
When there was an audience, we got them. There was a few scenarios of,
Everyone plays to a small room, man.
Yeah, we did that a few times, but it was fresh for us, obviously, which made it exciting and made people catch on to it who dug some fresh funk. But it was fun. Like we were doing the van, the passenger van trailer move, and a couple spots we played that we're like, how in the did we play in this place twice? Kind of hole places and to the other end of some dope festival hits. Like, it was fun.
Well, I mean, it was probably a lot tougher on the other guys in the band, and I want to ask about what's it like joining a band full of old guys and stuff, because they had all been, seasoned musicians for a couple decades. Yeah, straight up.
They had already done that band thing before.
Yeah.
A few varieties, and then to refresh it on that tip, like respect on that tip, Luckily, everyone involved is crazy, so all habits and are intact, just people's idiosyncrasies and just weird and dealing with each other in close quarters. It's all there.
Was it, what were those early days like? Was it hard? I mean, again, like I said, you were the kid, like 19, 20 years old, maybe 21?
I will say I wish I didn't drink as much when I was younger. I'll say that out loud. Or anymore sometimes also, but
well, none of the guys in the band, have a drink heavy. I know Tony drinks,
Tony's
ice cold
just
Budweiser.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen him drink more than two.
No, he'll you
whatever.
just think it's the same two.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think I got Tony to do a shot of something one time.
I've seen him do a shot like grudgingly.
Yeah,
like he didn't want to disappoint someone, so he did a shot.
Yeah, reluctant shot.
Yeah, he'll do it if he's pressured. I guess he falls into that peer pressure.
But I mean, like we're all have our road habits and just focus. Not. I don't mean that in a positive way. Saying focus, always, it's just it's always some funny shit, And those guys, just having.
I'm not trying to get dirt on the guys of the band or anything.
No, not at all. Not at all. I'll compare it to. We're all just living in a hotel together for a month and a half in California. California thing.
You can't tell us about it. You guys were doing a movie score.
It was a session. It was a session for a dope thing.
Yeah. We're not allowed to. Ivan teased it a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to be dope. That's all I'm going to say. And once we got to see what we saw, I was so glad that it was going to be so fire, because we would have been there anyway, because that was our only gig for the whole year. So that was, we would have, if it was a thing where people were coming up to me like finding out like, hey, Dumpstaphunk's on this thing, and I was like doing this kind of like, we would have still been there, but luckily for us, it's going to be way sick.
All right, cool.
So, but just all of us living, we're used to traveling. Like if we're gone for a month straight, we're in 28 different cities in
it's
30 days or whatever.
You don't have time to bother each other or
all,
get each
all
other's
living
way.
up on each other, and it was like a bubble scenario, and it was it's just very funny. It's just very, very funny.
Well, you guys did your episode of Tipitina's TV like shortly after that, maybe a week or two.
Yeah.
And obviously things are different right now, so everyone's band that we're used to seeing here come and go. It's always it's a different dynamic than regular shows, obviously. And it's not that you guys were out of sorts or anything, but like there was a different kind of professionalism in a positive way. I'm trying to say that, but like you guys had been in lockstep for a month basically.
Yeah.
And you finally got a breather, and it was your first time, I guess, sitting down again as a whole band, huh?
And we did one live stream from out there.
Yeah,
like
from the hotel
after.
bar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was the first time that it was kind of the mental before a show concept of like I get a little sip of whatever and just make the set list, that kind of but then it's showtime and it feels like a rehearsal, but you're on the internet. Like it's kind of it's just a weird vibe that one was our first full band one with like full horns and like that. And so once it was like bam go, that clicked that okay, this is it's just a kind of a strange vibe to it.
Yeah.
That you gotta power through that in a different kind of way. You don't get the show energy, the crowd, the whole thing.
You feed off the audience normally,
and just the concept of it being like a little buzz in the wherever, and you're going to do a hang, and but so it's a different headspace kind of. But it could in certain instances it's probably better.
Yeah.
Some focus more.
Falling into the old ways.
Some
doing
focus.
Regular show.
Sometimes I guess you can relax a little bit because someone's not staring at you. But then it's like recorded and
it could be 5,000
the whole time. It's just a
something.
weird difference. It's like this is slightly off the topic, but it's like the jam room on Jam Cruise.
All right.
It's like 3 a.m. on the boat, and everyone's in there, and they've been doing whatever they've been doing all day.
Yeah.
And as well as the musicians and shit, and it's late, and then it sounds good, but everyone in there's faded, but no one's phone is faded. So then it's just all crisp, and there needs to be like a filter on 3 a.m. phones that make your phone drunk enough to film what you think is fire at that moment.
That's fair.
I
mean, should we create that app? What do you think? It just ruin people's phones, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put drunk goggles on your phone, basically. There might be an app for that already. It's called Instagram. But what are your favorite kinds of gigs? Do you find yourself digging club shows more than, like, something like that? Like a jam room, when it is as casual as it can get. Nothing rehearsed, no nothing. Just get up there and... Jam
room scenario all depends on what kind of shit's going on.
All right.
Like who's involved and how it's interacting and like that. I don't know, because we're in some scenario where we were at. Tony was saying throw like a black tarp over the percussion setup because that just invites too many non-percussion players to come and just beating on all kind of all over everything.
Yeah.
But that's a good side tip. Yeah. But let's see. I'd say we've had a couple of super cool festival hits that, due to circumstance, were way back. We played Bonnaroo. I forget what year it was, but it was like a 2 a.m. hit, and we were right after Dr. John.
All right.
That was kind of a pretty wild scenario, like a big ass one of those giant tent rooms up there, but it was like packed in there, and it was just overall cool vibe. Mac holding it down. And then there's a couple just like super hot club rooms that are just sometimes fun for that vibe. I don't know. I like that. The key is to get to do all of that shit, I guess, and not, then you get to forget what you liked about one and switch it back and forth and shit like that.
Well, I know, something that your cousin Ivan had said last week was, like, hey, days like these, you got to get on a movie, movie stuff. Like, this kind of scenario, going to a hotel and recording, especially during, a pandemic, at least you get your own little bubble scenario. Like, that's the ideal scenario, to have to be stuck with something.
We had a free bar in that bubble too.
Well, then hell yeah, that sounds pretty.
It was like the
awesome.
Shining bar. That's what I was comparing that to the whole time. It was great.
Yeah? What was the bartender like? Was he all creepy like the...
No, there was like 3 bartenders that rotated.
Man, if it was the same guy that was just there.
That would be weird, yeah. No, it was like 3 different bartenders rotated that we were all getting COVID tested the whole time. And it was just dope. Our own private bartenders, like full stock bar. It's nice.
So, we mentioned Raymond Weber, original member of the band, and he, the 4 other of you are the other originals that are still there. Gone through a few drummers, Nikki, and then Alvin, into Devin.
Yep.
You guys are almost getting your own little Spinal
Alvin
Tap
Ford Jr.
I'm sorry.
Devin Trustclass.
Yeah, I should have said their last names too. I'm sorry about that.
For those.
Give them proper
now you know.
All of them individually powerhouses for sure. Like I said, you guys are starting to get your own little Spinal Tap scenario without killing them off at the very least.
Yeah. You know what? We've had... Let me think. I think we had Nikki, Devin, and Alvin all play on the same night one time.
For real?
And then maybe another 3 switch out before.
All right.
Yeah. Just by circumstantial people showing up here and there sometimes. Yeah, like that.
Coincidentally, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, those are fun.
Yeah. Is there anything to that? Why you guys have, every couple few years, a new drummer?
Well, with the Ray, original Big Raymond, Big, we went through the first few years of the band, and then we just kind of had started butting heads at about certain here and there, and then we all split ways basically. Yeah. And that kind of ended up. I feel like it worked out for Ray too, because he kind of dug being home. I feel like, and still working and being with his family and like that.
Was that part of it, just struggling on the road again?
I was a little bit, and we weren't crushing it, so it was like a busting his ass for not making a whole hell of a lot, which could be substituted without not seeing your family too. Yeah. And then then we snatched Nikki fresh off of her Beyonce situation. She had been homie through like the New York Soul Live Lettuce camp cats, and that was dope. When I was hyped when Nikki got in the band first, I was like some fresh blood. That was the first time we had another like young person in the band.
Someone close to your own age. Yeah.
We hang too much and drink way too much like that. And
rumor has it she picked up more girls than anyone else in the band. So.
That it could have easily, if she had decided, it would have no brainer been the case. Yeah, but we had some fun. That was a fun couple of years with Nikki on the road. It was we would always go do the like radio interviews and shit like that. Yeah. At the towns, just because it was just funnier.
Just silly.
Yeah, just with me and her.
Well, she's great, and she's a drummer that seemingly doesn't need to be mic'd. You can hear her. Anywhere in the building perfectly clear. She pounds on the drums like nobody ever seen.
Did you see that new track she put out too the other day? She put out a new record. She got a new YouTube video. It's dope. I can't remember the name of the song, but Nikki Gillespie. YouTube, check it out.
Nick, show a clip of that somewhere in here. And Nikki, thanks for permission to do that.
Yeah, she's rhyming on it. It's dope.
Yeah, no, and I think something that's come up, at least talking with the Galactic guys, since they've had so many lead singers since Houseman. There's something to adding someone to the group. It to them at least, and for an outsider, it owes to the longevity of the band almost. Like you said, brings in fresh blood, gives everyone a little bit new perspective.
There's always good and bad examples of everything, but yes, I agree with you. And in the case that we're talking about, that was definitely, we did recorded an album with Nikki. That was Everybody Wants Some. No, was it?
No, it was after Everybody Wants Some.
Yeah, it was. Dirty Word.
2013?
It was Dirty Word, 2013.
Dirty Word, yeah.
Yeah. That was a pretty fun record to do, and that was we did that over it's Troy's spot now. It was Fudge Studio.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a good. Me and Nikki would each like polish off she'd get Jameson and I get Crown at that time. And like both bottles might be gone on a bad night. Yeah.
Make it louder.
Yeah. Yeah, that was some fun road hangs and shit.
For sure.
And then, Nikki then Nikki quit. Nikki quit at the beginning of a tour, which maybe wait till the end of the tour to do that, but
well, sorry, go ahead.
But and then finished out the tour, you know what I mean? But it was just that was a weird run, but we're still cool homies. And
no, I've
I mean?
seen her at your shows.
Yeah,
I see hugs.
That was just funny at the time. But then, Alvin was next up in the blocks on that one. I played with Alvin like once or twice on some random like One Eye Jack's Jam.
All right.
Late night jazz fest something or other, and same sprinkling in situations with Tony and them. Yeah, Alvin was. We did most of the recording for our new record with Alvin, the record that's coming out next year. Most of those songs are featuring Alvin Ford Jr.
Okay.
And then some of them, Devin is on the about 3, 4. I gotta go check, but yeah. As far as the new record, which is coming out next year, but Alvin. Then he was on Pretty Lights and some other like that too.
Yeah, I remember he was working with Pretty Lights for a while.
And then when he basically got too busy to keep with us.
All right.
And then as that was ramping up, he would send Devin to like sub a rehearsal or a sound check or something. So
he's the one who tapped Devin, not y'all, huh?
Well, Dev had been coming to the gigs around Baton Rouge because that's where he grew up, right outside of Baton Rouge. So when we'd play at the Varsity or Chelsea's or whatever else up there, Dev would always come and hang out. And he was like young as then.
Yeah.
And then
so you became an old man.
A few years, yeah, right. And then a few years. I guess that was like right when Alvin got with the band, like 3-4 years later. Then it was Dev was, he knew all the he, it was like when Dev came to my house and met me and Ivan to rehearse, which ended up just being a rehearsal because Dev showed up and knew the names of the songs, which helps. That's kind of the hardest thing sometimes, to be like this song that like like you might know the music, but to get the names straight is a different mind sometimes if that's where your brain is wrong, but Dev showed up, knew names of the songs. He's like, oh yeah, it's one that starts like this, and he knew the beginnings and the endings and just said them all. We barely even picked up like guitar or key, we barely even played too much. He knew like everything, and we're like, yeah, I think this is gonna work. That was for a one-off that he was playing with us. I think it was in St. Louis that Alvin had some pretty like pop up or something, right. And Dev crushed out of it. And then so the next time that was kind of almost on the radar, it was like, you know what, let's make this call. Let's make this call. The gig, right? And then Alvin started playing with Raphael Sadiq right after that, and the dude from Radiohead and all kind of. He was
playing with Tom York.
The Ed O'Brien, is that the guy's name?
I don't know. I'm not a big Radiohead fan. I'm sorry.
I was
in trouble with some people.
I those first like 2 Radiohead records I would listen to, but last time I went back, it wasn't the same.
That makes total sense. It was very big for a lot of people our age. Like that was very, very popular band.
Although that one crazy ass animated video they had, I just saw that recently again the other day. That one's fucking dope.
All right.
Yeah, I forget the song.
From OK Computer or something like that.
I don't know. I forget all that.
So I'm sure if for both of our listeners, viewers, whatever, one of you guys type it in the comments, I guess. Right?
Yeah. Then so Dev's been rocking with us since then, crushing it.
Tell me about the decision to add horns permanently.
It was like a treat when we would get to have horns for a long time, and then we started kind of writing with horns, and some of it couple of them we tried to play without the horns, and it was all right, but it just was, we knew it wasn't what it was supposed to feel like. The first time we went full-time horns, it was kind of the Steeltown guys from Pittsburgh. All right. And that worked out for a while because our travel situation and just how we would line up rooming and room sharing and all that kind of you know what I mean? Right. All the just, so you were just finding band logistics guys. And like that, Yeah. But we would do some regional and it ended up kind of being them more than not, you know.
Okay.
But then we got Alex Wasili, and it was Paris Fleming at first was like the duo. When we switched to just a horn duo, which just worked better for it still felt strong enough for the music wise, like because we weren't going full Tower Power or something anyway, you know.
Yeah.
And then it was also like a how many motherfuckers fit in the van kind of thing too.
Yeah, man. Also, it's like that's 2 more mouths to feed.
It was kind of all that stuff, you know. And since then it's been the duo thing, and like Alex is like the head of our section, you know, and he crushes that, and our, you know, we've been.
No, he's great. I know.
That's a solid integral part of now at this point.
Well, plenty of times I had seen
a bunch
you guys,
of the new record horns all over it.
Like if you got horns, you've had horns on your record before, but it was never every song necessarily.
Yeah, this one, it's almost every song. We got Scarrick again on this record, who's been like the OG horn homie, just general. Brings his spaceship out on the road with us back in the day. Scarrick used to come out on the road with us like back like when we started, like in a van, and we had him rooming with this crazy ass friend of ours. We like reminded him about that. Yeah. Scarrick was on that session too in Cali just now.
Was he?
Yeah. So the section on that, it was Alex Wasili, Scarrick, and Rashawn Ross.
Okay.
Rashawn, trumpet player, plays with Dave Matthews, and he's the Michael Jordan of trumpet, maybe. I'll peg that one on him. Yeah.
All right. Tell me a little bit about Dr. Klaw, how it formed.
Klaw was me and Deitch pretty much like trying to be like, let's start some offshoot and then...
So like as if it was Dumpstaphunk starting over again, like side project during Jazz Fest type of gig?
Well, yeah, just because another a window to play some different, you know? And so it was like, all right, which direction for the next chair, bass? And I was like, we should go ND3 on this one, you know?
Nick is so powerful. He's got the voice of an angel.
Yeah, Nick's the man.
He is a phenomenal musician, and no offense. This is okay. We're gonna go back 1 second. We're gonna keep talking about Dr. Klaw. Dumpstaphunk. I was just mentioning Nick Daniels' voice. Who do you think is the best singer in Dumpstaphunk?
Nick.
Is he? Okay. I agree. Sorry, Ivan and Tony.
You know, that's very tough. As far as doing crazy, as far as doing crazy, it's Nick. Just vocally wise, that like nobody else can do. You know what I mean?
He can do everything.
Nick.
He can do everything.
That's why those dudes work so well together vocally. I feel like because Nick is acrobatic with kind of. Ivan is one of the most distinct voices. Like his voice it seems louder, even when it's not like you can measure it. But his just sounds louder.
He's
somehow.
got the perfect tone for funk.
And then Tony can morph into so many different things and that it just those three locking together like that does a different kind of thing. That's another just Dumpstaphunk talk wise. Just the two bass players, don't try this at home tip. Any normal bass players would kind of like start stepping on each other and going for similar.
Yeah.
But those two dudes they naturally weave and bob and stay in the poles of each other or something, and it makes like this crazy fabric kind of.
Well, I think it helps that every once in a while Tony will pick up a guitar and then you guys start trading back and forth too.
Yeah, but it's more common to have two guitar players, so
obviously
that's where the bass is just extra weird. Yeah.
No, and it was almost like fluke happenstance. Like, hey, I want to get one of these guys. Why the hell can't I just try getting both of them?
Just call them both. You got both their numbers, you know.
And speaking of singing, I even, when Nikki was in the band, I remember she used to sing every once in a while, at least one song per gig.
Yeah.
You're the only one without a microphone. What's the matter? You can't sing?
I mean, I'm not great, so no. But also like those dudes crush. Why?
You don't even do backup vocals, not even just little humming or harmonies or anything like that, right?
You know, those.
Not even some oohs and ahs.
I should, you know, get my together.
You don't open your mouth for a second during that show.
But you know, I should. But that, you know, I don't feel bad about it in that scenario because, like, what am I gonna really be adding to those three dudes? That's how I look at it on that one.
That's a good point.
So.
Never, I mean, in the early days, did you ever have to do any backups or anything like that? Like, I can't recall a single memory. Even really. When I saw you,
super rare. Tony.
The first time I saw you play with Funky Meters was, you know, Halloween at the Wolf or something like that. When I was probably 18 or 19, and I thought you were a child.
Mm-hmm.
You were a young-looking teenager.
I was,
and it was like, holy hell, this kid's good. I don't remember you singing backups for those either, man.
Mm-hmm. No, it was never really my bag.
Never even tried.
Like, I'm
going to badger you about this for at least 30 more seconds.
That's fine.
All right. I mean,
I should, it's not like I haven't thought to myself to get my together on that tip and just get over whatever. But, we'll see. I don't know.
So, again, we were talking about Dr. Klaw.
Oh, yeah,
Dr.
right.
Klaw. I had to give you a hard time about not singing. I even made note of it, too. So
it was like, all right, now Nick's settled. Me, Deitch, Nick.
Yeah.
And then was the first gig the full blast, the five of us with Nigel and Kraz?
I don't know.
That's what I'm trying to think about. We did one early Klaw gig it was me and Nick and Deitch, and this was upstairs at Blue Nile. It was me and Nick and Deitch and Big Sam and Terrence Higgins. There was like a cocktail kit or some percussion world.
I was
it's
like
a percussion world.
Deitch.
It was a kit and a percussion world, and there was them two switching off. Yeah, and me and Nick and Big Sam. That's right. The first few Klaw gigs, Big Sam was on some of those, and then Nige and Kraz has always floated in and out, kind of. I feel like more so lately.
Okay,
but we
He's busy. He's got another band. I mean, that's the thing. You picked musicians that are all very busy throughout the year.
Yeah,
quite often.
That's very true. But when we do get to do that band's still fun, and there's an elusive Dr. Klaw record that we keep saying things about that nobody believes, that anybody who gives about that band does not believe that that's going to happen ever, I feel like.
Okay.
But there's music that exists, and like we recorded like almost
in the studio
8 years ago. Yeah.
For real.
Yeah. And there was like 6 tracks we recorded like 8 years ago, maybe-ish. And then we just demoed some new, about 5-6 more tracks like last year or something like that. So there is movement. It's going to happen at some point.
All right.
It's going to happen. Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah.
At some point.
Dice just sent me some the other day to just vibe up on something he started, and so it is in background happening.
All right.
Yeah. There's going to be another Dumpstaphunk record first, still.
Yeah, I was going to say, when are you guys planning on trying to release a Dumpstaphunk record? Tell me, let's talk about something.
You know, a proper segue into, wait for that one?
Is there a better segue?
You want to finish up some Dr. Klaw weirdness?
We can go back and forth, too.
All right.
Come on. What are we doing? It doesn't matter. I'm trying to get you a little sauced here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The Dumpstaphunk, that record's coming out early next year. It was going to be...
What you calling it?
It's called Where Do We Go From Here?
All right.
That's the first single or whatever off the record, I guess. But it had a different tentative title, but due to the other title was before any kind of COVID weirdness and just Earth shut down. So that was already a song we had, was called Where Do We Go From Here? So we kind of flipped to do the whole album name that, and the
material was all written and recorded before the pandemic, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys have been working on this since the beginning of the year at the
longer than that. So the other tentative title was the Troll title was just coming soon because it was just taking us so long to put out anything. But now wasn't the time for the Troll album name, maybe, so we just went with the other album title, and it's cool because the artwork kind of came out vibed up from it, starting from that name, So it'll be cool on that front. but most of the was recorded like in the last 3 years, something like that.
Okay. But you're trying to put it out next year, in theory?
Yeah, we just finally...
Wait until you can hit the road to help promote it, I guess?
Partially during pandemic, we finished like some mixes and just edits and all that kind of and by the time we got all together, it just seemed to make more sense to why we can't go anywhere. So
yeah, man, I mean, you've been seeing it, not to, point fingers one way or another towards other musicians. Like some people had, like I had Big Frida on here, and she was doing publicity on like the Wendy Williams show, and the next day had to come home because she had a new record that was going to drop and had a big tour planned. And, that was very common. A lot of people do that in the spring, knowing that festival season's coming up, and then we're going to hit the road all summer and do this. I mean,
on paper.
Yeah.
But no. So, yeah, we'll just wait till next year, and we'll see what the that looks like, really.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, some of these albums have come out, and the super fans that'll listen to people no matter what will buy it. But you don't get to... It's hard to gain new fans.
I'm not banking on anybody buying it, honestly, right now. But just you don't get to draw that extra little couple of eyes here and there from doing the tour.
It's hard to gain new fans if you can't hit the road to help. If you don't have new stuff to get in front of people.
At least now, though, I feel like people are just more vigilant online and just trying to substitute their in real life intake for whatever the we can find.
They are, but there's almost like some diminishing returns at some point.
Yeah,
with some of it,
you can only do so many live streams, and yeah.
I mean, it gets hard, and if you start getting picky, like those early first few weeks of the pandemic, people would sit and stare at someone videotaping themselves on an iPhone for an hour and a half. It's like, oh man, I'm seeing in their living room, and after a little while, it's like, we should move that camera to a better angle, or maybe you couldn't get a second camera or whatever. So like, when we did these, that's why we have, crane jib, like coming through, like trying to make it look like we're in a professional studio, making it as interactive feeling, make it feel like you're right up in front of the stage or even on the stage at some point as best we can. So
I wanted to do like some crazy like projection map on our gear and do wild like that. That would be that would be cool embellishment to some, that'd be dope.
Yeah, I mean, we put on a decent light show normally. Not today. This is a terrible light show. We were talking about Dr. Klaw and stuff like that. I
the
read
album
somewhere,
that will come out.
The album to be named soon, to be released in the future.
I think I know the album name too, but
yeah. You want to say it?
I don't know.
Okay, you don't have to if you don't want to.
I don't know. I don't think I do yet.
All right, if you're not comfortable, I don't want to make you do anything you're not comfortable with.
I'm gonna save it.
Who all's on it? How's that? Can you say that?
Who's in the band on the record?
Well, who's on the record at least?
It's
this was a long time ago. You said
Deitch, Nigel.
Right, so
Nick.
Big Sam wasn't on these recordings. Even
No,
though he was
these
part
were
of the band in the early days.
these were the studio was Deitch, Nick, Kraz, Nigel, and myself.
No Terrence? Was he on there also? Okay.
Deitch did all the percussion, and drums.
That's an okay lineup, to say the least.
Yeah.
I read somewhere this summer that you're actually putting out, or at least recording a solo album too. Is that right?
You read that somewhere?
I did.
Huh.
Is that wrong?
I mean, I've been in my head, like, I have separated of, like, in my phone, like, saved that'll be, like, dumpster stuff. Some saved for Klaw and then I'll save some other that, in theory, I'm going to get my together and put out.
I mean, I read it on an online website for a local publication.
Well, what? Oh, you know what? I know what the that was that you read.
Was that not supposed to happen?
That was the where you at thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was just a hilarious circumstance of an interview.
Okay, yeah. Well, it wasn't an interview. You're quoted for half a sentence, and then there's commentary saying
that's
that you
what
have
made it even funnier.
A solo album called Dumpstaphunk. I was like, this, like,
yep. See,
how come it's not his words saying this?
That's what. See.
All right, sorry, Josh. At where you at? I don't know who wrote that article, but I guess it's bullshit.
It was just the person who interviewed me had maybe never done an interview before, and definitely didn't know anything about me or Dumpstaphunk.
That's okay, dude.
Which is fine.
This is not a real interview. I understand that.
But just that was just a memorably hilarious kind of interview. And then what came out of the words that got bounced around in this interview was what you read. And so it
You didn't send off
the album called Dumpstaphunk or whatever the it said, right?
Yeah.
Ivan called me and was like, "Did you read this?" And I'm like, "No, what's it saying?"
I have a sentence that says solo album called Dumpstaphunk.
Yeah.
No bullshit.
Once he called me and told me that,
that line right there.
Yeah, once he called me
that?
and told me that, I was like, I didn't seek out the rest of it to find it, but I could tell by my initial interaction that it was going to be something funny.
All right. Well, you heard it here first. Second, correct.
I didn't,
folks.
I wasn't trying to call nobody out, but that was a whack interview.
All right.
It's kind of stupid.
All right. Maybe we'll cut this part out. I don't know.
I mean, I don't care, but.
All right. Well, I'm friendly with the guy who runs where he at. I'm sure he just copy and paste.
I got nothing against any of them. I'm just saying that was funny.
Well, to be fair,
wouldn't. If I knew how, I wouldn't have sent that kid to interview anybody.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Well, chances are he wasn't sent. He just came back. Hey, I got a hold of Ian Neville.
I think when he called me first, he was like, he left me a message and was like, Ivan. And so that was the first sign. And I was like, no. And he was like, oh, well, can I talk to you? And it was that kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, don't worry. I'm sure you'll be telling a terrible story about this interview one day down the road. I don't know.
People always manage to do that. Our names are hilariously close.
They're similar.
But, I make sure on our room list, when we're, checking in a hotel, to put our opposite ends of the band names, because they like to put our rooms next to each other. And I will legit go change rooms when I'm next to him in the hotel, because I don't like to listen to SportsCenter when I'm sleeping. So
I'll go to sleep with that all night.
I'll legit move rooms in the hotel. Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's good.
All right.
They think we want to be all next to each other in the hotels. It's like, no, we've been in a van together all day. We'll
that's why we have different rooms. Yeah. Tell me more about your solo work, not called Dumpstaphunk.
Not called Dumpstaphunk?
I mean, I don't know. You're just writing songs like everybody. A lot of musicians are just writing. They're at home. You have a lot of time on your hands. You're not hitting the road. You got to have some kind of creative outlet at some point in time.
Yeah,
is that writing? I mean, I know you play bass as well a little bit.
I've been trying to play and write starter jams to bring to the table. And I've been doing some kind of visual, wall art, kind of just random. These I got a bunch of tree rounds, slices of tree, and it's like a tech nature fusion-y kind of concept of these tree rounds. I routed, got a bunch of guts of electronics, some keyboards, and one I harvested this old security camera and just make routed out a bunch of the wood to run the wires through and drop all the circuitry and in the wood. And then I just resin it over and it's just hang on the wall kind of vibe.
Visual art?
Yeah.
So I didn't know you made stuff like that.
I've been doing like that for a while. I was making these shutters, the house window shutters. Yeah. I had some of those on the inside of my kitchen window. They were just in the way and so I made these weird light installation kind of things with some LED strips and out of some house shutters. I made a few of those, and I gotta make some more of these tree round things and like that and try to get some of that kind of shit off the ground,
Well, that's...
I made one of the shutters, I just remembered this. One of the shutters I primed it white and gave it to Frenchie.
Okay.
To do his thing, whatever he felt like.
Yeah.
And I was gonna finish the lampy part, the light part of it. But I would just remember I never got that back. I gotta call him.
He's actually busy. Can you believe that? Frenchie's
busy.
Well, I'll tell you what. He comes in and every once in a while he'll paint. Whenever we're doing a Tipitina's TV episode, every Friday he paints at the Funky Uncle.
I saw one of his non-live show paintings and it looked cool. I didn't.
Yeah, man. He doesn't paint only live music. He paints all kinds of things. But he's an artist. He's a little scatterbrained. It's hard for him to maintain things. Only recently, I think Andrew Portwood's been helping him organize some stuff recently. People buy his stuff and he has trouble sometimes just keeping tabs on when this has to be shipped out and whatever else. He needs an assistant. He's an artist.
That's a good problem. You know, he's got that shit locked. You know, when was he at the Saints game the other day? Did they let him in the dome?
I don't remember seeing him.
I don't know.
Normally they would put him on the camera.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I think it's really interesting that you make things like this because, you know, when I was talking about your father and something that came up in that autobiography, I remember reading that he got a job like at an appliance store.
He used to fix TVs and shit like that, radios and TVs. Yeah, and like he got me back in the day this little kit where you wired it to you wrap the little wires around and make your own little radio and all that kind of little
so you've
nerd
been
out.
Tinkering since you were a kid.
Yeah,
huh?
I like taking apart since I was a kid and all that. Like and this is a manifestation of that totally, like 100%. And yeah, these are they're kind of cool. Like I dig them. I don't feel like I'm biting off anything that I can immediately think about. You know, it's kind of slightly original kind of. I don't know, which is I guess I can almost say that. You know, I'm sure I'm copying something somewhere, but
it's original if you're coming up with it. You know? I mean, do you work with wood a lot by any chance?
No, but
something that people obviously have noticed since they've been in here that we no longer have that front of house sound.
The big console situation.
We have all that lumber left over. We used a lot of it to reframe the walk-in cooler, which is now a closet. We recycled a lot of the lumber. But we got a lot of that lumber still that we're coming up with a lot of ideas on things that we want to do. So if there's any piece of art, you know, we could use a couple little tables and things.
Dude, one of those shutter lights, I'll show you what I'm talking about, but the shutter light situation would look dope as because like even behind this kind of like,
yeah. We make our set.
Yeah,
you know?
straight up.
You want to make our all right broadcast set?
I'll show you. I'll show you one of the. I got one of the things.
You can be our set designer, man. We'll put you in the credits and everything.
I don't know if I'm.
This is a low budget show. Like that mezcal is your pay.
That's the problem. Is
forever. You never get another free thing.
That's the problem. Is I want to like all the just people selling photography and just any kind of art is so arbitrarily priced that
sometimes,
I feel like just put it out there and it. Somebody, most people aren't going to want it,
you know,
but whatever.
Especially if it has a use, like it's shutters. You know, people buy shutters because they need shutters.
That factor. So this is I use like a window. I just bought an old house.
You're gonna have to text it to me so people can see. There's too much
I'm
build
gonna
up.
show you though.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
That was just a window that I did, but I had some shutters and like this was some weird stained glass cabinet door I found. I made one out of.
That's cool. What kind of LED? Those are LEDs underneath.
LED strips.
Okay.
Yeah, just straight LED strips. I'll find one of the other things to show you right quick too.
All right. Are those magnets? Oh no, those are coils.
Yeah, just some. I harvested like a couple. I got a bunch of shit off of Trevor, like keyboard guts and shit. That was one of those. And like I was saying, an old video camera.
Man, I wish I had known.
Camera.
The old soundboard that was the monitor board, that was the old front of house board that was around since God knows when.
That's right.
That old analog board that we had for a long time. I pulled all the guts out of it so it would be light enough, and we were planning on mounting it to the wall or something cool. I didn't want to get rid of it. Like, I hate to seem like a hoarder. Everyone's like, dude, that will never work again. It's like, yeah, but
you could do something.
Think of the thousands of shows that have been run through this board. All of those are, Neville shows throughout the 80s and everything, because it was new in 86 when they reopened after redoing it and turning it into a new place. Like that had some of the most epic shows ever go through that board. And so I pulled all the guts out of it so I could lose a couple 100 pounds, try and mount it to the wall, and the guys took it to the studio. So everyone was like, dude, that's junk. So I hope they didn't throw it out. But I had all these pieces, like these random,
the crucial
old-ass electronics. That would have been perfect for that.
Yeah, all that kind of but the crucial part is not just hoarding and being like, I'm going to make something out of it. Because interesting side note, Hoarders, one of my favorite shows.
That's fair, yeah.
Inspirational television.
Yeah, no, it makes you want to get rid of some stuff.
I immediately throw all kind of away in my house. Okay, on Dirty Word, the song Dirty Word, I sampled a lady from Hoarders.
Yeah?
On the front of that song, like semi in hopes that we would get sued by Hoarders. Dumpstaphunk versus Hoarders would have been, that would have been kind of worth it.
The publicity
maybe.
Is, you couldn't buy that.
It sells itself, It's great. But yeah, if you throw that song on, the top of that is this lady from Hoarders, and yeah, just scope her out.
Well,
great quote.
I'm one of those people. I didn't grow up in a hoarding family or anything like that. But my old man always had a warehouse at work, so we never threw stuff away. It was put it in the warehouse. Like my entire childhood is in boxes in a warehouse right now.
You know,
I'm not kidding about that at all. My entire childhood and all of our immediate family's history can be found in boxes in a warehouse in Houston right now. Because that's future plans. Aside from the album, like, are there any things that you guys? And obviously, everyone's schedule is different this year than how everyone planned it. Yeah. Did you guys have any plans for this year or any changes aside from, you've had horns for almost 2 years, like any differences that you expect in the future of Dumpstaphunk, sound, setup, anything like that?
Some of these songs were written longer ago than the other. Basically, the next time we really go do a full record kind of thing, I hope we can have everyone there all at the same time, meaning the horns and all in the initial writing process for some of the because sometimes we would record our end and then send it to the horns or get Scarrick to write some or like I Wish You Would, we sent it to Troy first and he played some and then we sent it to Scarrick and he played a bunch of crazy and we like weaved all that made like a Scarrick like embellished out of that track in particular, and we weaved in the Troy stuff with it, and like he played around some of the Troy stuff and kind of built it that way. But to do all that together in the room, preferably would be cool, because we kind of don't really get to do that with the horns usually.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you get a different end product than probably what you were imagining one way or another, right?
Sometimes it's better and sometimes maybe not, but I'd rather have the vibe of us all together to be able to decide after that maybe, okay, let's go back and revisit these parts or something.
Have you ever recorded a song, then added horns that said, man, we should have written our end of the song a little bit different because I like the way these horns are doing this. We didn't think about the song that way.
But that's the thing that I'm getting at, that some things would adjust, push and pull, adjust themselves in the writing process. If we were all able to do it in real time like that together, kind of. But then, certain circumstances, it is kind of cool to let them be able to sit with a track and really dig into it. So it's kind of a balancey thing.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Something else I want to talk about, the re-release of Justice. And you guys redid the video and added the Charlie Tuna parts.
Yeah.
And I think the Trombone Shorty parts were already on there, the first original version.
Yeah, Troy was on the original.
Redid
added
the video,
Tuna.
Re-released it to be a little more accommodating for, 2 years later, 3 years later.
Yeah.
The situation we're in now, the song still resonates.
We had a tragically shocking amount of new footage to use for that video. And Charlie Tuna's verse, he did one a while ago, and then he updated his verse as well for some of the new and it's just, he crushed the out of that verse, and it's also poignant and just on time. It's like he crushed the out of that verse, and I've been listening to J5 and Cut Chemist and the whole that camp since I was a kid. I was like, I was heavy hip hop back in high school and
and Sublime, obviously, right?
All over the board. No, for that was the band wise, but for my own listening,
I've been for real, man.
Yeah. Tuna just it was so dope to get to have Tuna on one of our because I've been hearing him since I was young.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, I had a cousin move to town from Cali on my mom's side, and he was all about all the crazy underground West Coast hip hop, like Hieroglyphics and Sacred Hoop and Cool Keith and all that. Cool Keith wasn't from out there, but
No, I remember seeing Jurassic 5 like skateboarding videos and stuff like that.
AC Alone and like a bunch of just super dope West Coast hip hop that I got hip to. That I'm glad I had that little connect there. That was a good influence. Getting tuned on that, it was cool. I don't know.
No, man, the song, the video specifically. I mean, that's the thing. I heard the song before. You guys have been playing the song for a little while.
Unfortunately,
I've been hearing the song for a while, and I never saw the original video. I just don't remember seeing it at all. And when you guys re-released it a few weeks ago, and I saw it, I was like, holy hell, this is like one of the best videos I've ever seen. It was the kind of thing that it gives you chills while you watch it. And I know that it's old. Some of it's old footage, and even y'all walking around, doing the lip sync or whatever else. Like that's old footage too. But even still, like it's a powerful video.
If you look close in that video, on a lighter note, if you can, Nick has a T-shirt that says "#1 Grandpa."
Does it?
I don't know if you can spy it in the video, but it was like the premise of like, yo, show up, maybe wear something kind of cool or whatever, shoot a video, and Nick walks up with #1 Grandpa shirt. I'm like, yeah. Yeah, that's good.
This is funk.
Yeah.
#1 Grandpa.
Yeah.
A couple of things that we do.
Shoot.
You're from the neighborhood. You've been to Guys before. You eat po' boys. You're a regular human citizen.
I am, but I'm not a po' boy head. But continue.
You don't have to be a po' boy head.
Okay.
But you've been to Guys, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever tried the bomb at Guys?
No.
If you have a place, give them a free plug that you like to go to. But more specifically, what is the Ian? You don't have a nickname, do you? Do you have a nickname?
For myself?
Yeah, for yourself.
Some people call me E, but that doesn't make any sense because my name starts with an I, but it sounds like an E, but that's my name's fault. So that's a
all right. So you're gonna create the Ian or the Ian Neville or whatever you want to call it.
Is this a beverage or a meal or what is this?
This is a po' boy. You need to create your own signature po' boy. It doesn't have to be at Guys. It can be anywhere. Feel free to give someone a free plug. But what kind of po' boy would be your signature? Like, I want my name on this one on a menu permanently.
It wouldn't be a po' boy though for me, honestly.
Man, why you gotta mess with this?
Be a whole it'd be like a dope seafood plate kind of situation.
Just put it on French bread then.
But I'd enjoy it more if it wasn't on the French bread part. You're missing the
point of the game.
I know, but I can't. Anyone who knows me and sees this, they're gonna call me out for bullshit. I'm some po' boy expert.
All right, don't have to be do you eat any kind of sandwich?
Do you have
a
preferred
sandwich?
I just ate a burger earlier tonight.
All right, okay. We'll do burgers. What is the Ian burger? How's that? Do you want to give a free plug? This is your opportunity for a potential free burger.
They had this burger at a Chafalaya that was like some brioche bun situation, but some bacon jam kind of thing or something like that. Yeah. Something like that. And just some some lettuce, onion maybe situation. Pretty simple with my burgers.
Standard, just regular beef.
Yeah, nothing
80,
crazy,
20,
but
90,
but
90,
good.
10, what? I don't know.
I'm gonna go 90-10.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go 90-10 on that split.
You wouldn't put that on French bread?
No.
Damn. Come on, man. I can't believe you're the first. We actually hit a wall with the po' boys for the first time ever. Normally someone comes up with that.
I could be that guy.
Fried shrimp
No, I could have bullshit you.
You could have, but
I didn't want to do that.
For not doing that. Yeah, yeah we've been having some drinks. Maybe you'll and I don't mean it again to poke fun at the guys in your band. It's funny, like you mentioned some of their idiosyncrasies and stuff like that. And I don't want to try and call anyone out specifically, but I know, especially for dudes, and sorry to say this about you guys, for some older guys, you get set in your ways, you just have certain preferences that you got to stick with.
I mean, I still do that same I do
exactly.
That too,
but I mean, the difference was when you were a young guy and you guys first hit the road, I'm sure you're like, I got no problem sleeping in a van. And for them, it's like, I opened for the Rolling Stones in 81. Why am I still sleeping in a van? Stuff like that.
What's funny is that the last time it was a scenario where someone chose to sleep in the van, Tony chose to sleep in the van because the hotel we were in was so skank that the van was a better idea.
Yeah?
This was a long time ago, but yeah, it was somewhere in...
Yeah, but you haven't told me any ridiculous stories aside from almost dying in a car wreck. Holy hell.
Yeah, that one. No, but this was just a stupid story where some super skank hotel motel we're staying in. I think it was Auburn somewhere.
Yeah.
That...
Did y'all get fleas or anything like that?
No, but there was fly swatters in every room. And I could literally see daylight through the cracks around the edges of the door. And Tony, legit, he slept in the van.
Yeah.
Because he felt that safer cocoon setting in our
I don't blame him for that at all. There are some things, I know they're just, again, some people get set in their ways and they get very particular about things. It's almost like their own personal level of moderate OCD to a sense.
I would drop the word moderate, but yeah.
All right. Well, I know Nick doesn't like driving on bridges. Is that right? Nick doesn't like to drive on bridges.
He doesn't like the heights and all that kind of shit. No, everybody's got their thing.
No, and Tony won't drink a Budweiser unless it's in a can or a Coke out of a can. You don't drink bottles, right?
It has to be an extenuating circumstance for him to variate his Budweiser intake. Yeah.
All right.
Like he...
I just think it's funny. Well, I know, and the other thing for Ivan at the very least, and not to poke fun at all, because I know he's in recovery for over 20 years, which is a solid feat in itself.
Yeah, he's been sober as that whole time.
Exactly. Can't be that easy. So if he can't get something as simple as whatever kind of soda or whatever else, it's like, man, this is the only thing I need. The only thing I want today was just getting this one thing. And, he made sure to get this or that, or at least Ian got his Crown or Mezcal. You
got to have the little vices here and there,
Yeah, well, I mean, he quit smoking. I don't know if he still plays cards or anything like that. So.
Not as much, but yeah.
Yeah. Can't be easy. I got my vices too,
Yeah, I got them.
We're not going to use any of this stuff in the interview. This is going to be a 5-minute interview, by the way. I don't know. You got anything else to add, Ian?
I don't know. Did this go anywhere how you expected?
Not at all, but that's fine.
Is that good or bad?
Matter. No, this is just an excuse to hang out for a little while and have some drinks. So
I mean, I scoped a couple. I skimmed through.
Did you like the program so far? I don't know if any of our guests have ever actually seen what they were in for when they were shot.
I did a skim through just to see, But
what did you think?
It was cool. It was good.
Yeah.
Good.
Who did you watch?
Natural. I saw Pete's and I saw Rob and that was. And that was pretty much the ones I skimmed through. But
all right, how does this hold up?
I have no idea.
Me neither.
I don't know. So
there's another thing. I don't know if you're aware of this. I'm sure if you skim through to the very end, you might know that no guest leaves empty-handed. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Oh man, you haven't even made it to the end of one of these interviews.
No, I didn't. No, I was skipping around.
Well, don't worry. It's a good thing.
What'd I win, Tank?
You didn't win anything except a certificate suitable for framing.
Oh,
there you go. Go ahead and read that on the microphone for us. I have a folder so you don't lose it also.
Certificate suitable for framing for participation in the all right broadcast.
It's just two all rights. Don't make that.
That was the thing.
Yeah, we don't need McConaughey coming after us. Yeah.
Certificate suitable for framing for participation in the all right broadcast. We hereby certify that you, Ian Neville, are officially awesome for being interviewed on this day, November 27th, 2020, for absolutely no monetary compensation whatsoever. Congratulations. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Funk is a non-profit organization.
Yeah, you're right about that, right? Well, you get to keep the bottle. I'll let you keep the bottle. You can bring the limes home if you want.
That is a come up, though. Thank you.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
not monetary. It's not monetary.
No, it's not.
But I gave you a folder so you don't lose
Spiritual
it. Spiritual
compensation. How's that?
Exactly. Your cousin Ivan tried to leave it behind, and I had to run after him. When he got in his car, I was like, no, hey.
Guarantee this is in his car still?
Probably.
I would guarantee that almost. Sure. Yeah.
Well, it is a certificate suitable for framing. You note the seal of seriousness over on the left-hand side. Thank you so much for watching the All Right broadcast. Thank you so much to Ian Neville for being so generous with your time. Thank you to Tipitinas for allowing us to use the space. I hope you're enjoying this on tipitinas.tv, our media empire. And thank you so much to nugs.net for letting us use your cameras and your equipment. Check out all their great content on nugs.net. I know there's at least 2 Dumpstaphunk shows on there here at Tipitinas for you to enjoy for free. And if you're watching this on YouTube, which is, I think, the only avenue to watch this, go ahead and subscribe and share with your friends. Don't cost you nothing. It's free. Just hit the button. Doesn't affect your life one way or another. It only helps. Ian, thank you. Seriously. Thank you so much.
Word.
I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Ian Neville, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, Nugs. Thanks, Tips. Thanks, Tank.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you to the great Pete Jones,
everybody.
Tanner Logan, and Nick Logan, our entire crew here at the All Right broadcast. We still got a lot of mezcal for you to drink, so
I'm going to work on a little bit more of this. But
it's Friday. We're not going anywhere.
Word.
Go ahead and fade to black, but not with the lights because they're messed up. Nick's going to have to do all that in post.
Who dat?
Who dat? All right. That wasn't so bad, right?
And that was painless. I don't know what you're going to feel like you want to use that.